Hello, everyone, and welcome to part two of the Scouted Football Transfers You May Have Missed series. If you missed the first part, I'll have it linked up for you up the top there, but we're going to go straight into it today with another four players. So, Joe, I'm going to throw straight to you. Who's your first player?
Yeah, first player. I've got two players who arrived in the Premier League this season. So they might not have flown under too many people's radars, but I think the fact that they've signed for well, first of all, Frank Onyeka signed for Brentford from FC Midtjylland in Denmark for around £9 million. That's a deal which sees him join until 2026. A 1998 born defensive midfielder. Came to Europe with Midtjylland in 2016 from FC Ebide in Nigeria, which is a club that Midtjylland have a partnership with. And for anybody who doesn't know, Midtjylland are pretty much owned by the same person, Matthew Benham, as Brentford. So there's been a little bit of negotiations between those two clubs, and they seem to have agreed a £9 million fee. Onyeka is an interesting player because I mean, apart from the injury to Josh De Silva, which is obviously a great tragedy, of course, he remains injured for an extended period. Onyeka's profile is one which Brentford don't necessarily have beginning the season, so it's one which I think is a shrewd addition. You'll get through loads and loads of defensive work. You'll plug holes. You'll cover spaces. You'll close gaps. And in pre-season, Brentford have gone with a pretty high line, high press approach. So if they're going to continue with that in the Premier League, they're going to need somebody to cover those spaces in behind in sort of the number six role. And I think that Onyeka is capable of doing those jobs. And yeah, well, I mean, it's the perfect justification for Matthew Benham's relationship or joint or ownership is that when Brentford finally needed a player in that role, when they finally made it to the Premier League, there was one ready made at Midtjylland.
Yeah, the only thing I'm probably a little bit surprised about is that they didn't leave him there a little bit longer for I think the latter stages of their Michelin's Champions League qualification. But straight over to Brentford, they obviously want to get him ready for a long season and try to keep Brentford up in the Premier League, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be curious to see how he's used. I think it'll primarily be used as a number six. But when he first came to Midtjylland, he was used sort of pretty much all over the place. He was used in an attacking midfield role. He was used in a centre forward role occasionally. But yeah, I think under Thomas Frank, I think he'll be a defensive midfielder who just is very good at covering space.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to get into my first player, and I'm dressed for the occasion. This is a Matilda's jersey, but the player I'm going with is Alou Kuol, who has just moved from Central Coast Mariners in the A League on a free transfer to Stuttgart. So I think there's a bit of a salon fee clause in there to sweeten things up for Central Coast. But I'm super excited about this one. Kuol pretty much 12 to 18 months ago wasn't even a professional player. He got picked up by the Central Coast on a A-League scholarship contract, and then straight away kind of just got into the first team and took over as probably the best super sub in the A-League. So he was a very, very important player. He's just excitement machine. Probably around 5'10", 5'11", but he's just got the biggest leap you'll ever see. A really, really, really good header as well. And just has really good fundamental basic striking instincts. So really good awareness all over the field. And hopefully with this free transfer to Stuttgart, he will probably start to round off his game a little bit more technically, get a little bit better at creating his own shots off the dribble. At the moment, it's mainly more fundamentals, using his speed, using his leap, using his heading ability to be a really really good goal scorer. So yes, he was a super sub. Didn't start a lot of games. Probably needs to really show that he can impact games when starting, rather than coming on and doing it against tired legs. But his goal record was per minute was up there with the best in the A League last season, and I'm just cannot wait to see what Stuttgart are able to do with him.
I mean, that's Sven Mislintat's scouting network extending all the way over to Australia now, isn't it? I mean, it's great identification of talent, and also, I think Stuttgart is a good landing spot for Kuol.
Yeah, and it's not the first player Mislintat's brought over from the A League. He signed Mitch Langerak probably around 10 years ago now from Melbourne Victory and brought him over to Dortmund. So it's not the first time that he's gone snooping around Australia and Asia more broadly. But yeah, this one is probably a little bit more left field even than the Langerak one. But yeah, whether he plays in the third division, I think where the reserve team plays, or whether he goes out on loan, I yeah, just cannot wait to see him play.
Yeah. So next on my list, I kind of alluded to it there, that the two players I've selected were both Premier League players. And last week we had Yerson. Steve picked him out. This week we've got Yerson Mosquera, signed for Wolves from Atlético Nacional in Colombia. He's signed for around £5 million and on a deal until 2026 as well. And he's considerably younger than Frank Onyeka, who was my first pick. Mosquera is 2001 born, a central defender. Very much new on the professional footballing scene. I think he's only got around 24 or 25 senior appearances at club level. Came through Colombia's most famous club's academy with Atlético Nacional, having joined there in 2018. And quite remarkably, he's one of 10 children, 8 by blood, 1 foster brother. But he was very close to joining Club Brugge in Belgium this summer, but Wolves nicked in. They lured him with the offer of Premier League football, exploiting the loophole in the new work permit or governing body endorsement rules, which allow you to sign players from young players from South America who have got some youth international caps and have played in the Copa Libertadores, which is ranked at the same level as the Champions League. But I was reading something on Yerson Mosquera, and the Athletic made comparisons to Yerry Mina and Davinson Sanchez, which, I mean, while they're easy ones, Colombian central defender, 6'2", aggressive playing style. There's a little bit of weight behind it. He is a very, very front foot aggressive defender. I do have a few questions over whether he'll play regularly, but given that the likes of Roman Saiz and Willy Bolly will likely be at the Africa Cup of Nations this year, I think there's credence to say that Yerson might actually play around 800 to 1,000 minutes in the Premier League this term. So I'm hoping to see a bit of him, because in the preseason friendlies that he's already played for Wolves, he's developed a bit of a reputation for being a brick wall. So it'll be good to see how Bruno Lage, obviously the new Wolves coach, develops him, how he uses him, whether he's expected to develop the progressive side of his game, and just how he'll adapt to the speed of the Premier League, because it is markedly faster than what he'll have been playing in Liga Aguila in Colombia.
Yeah, I think the work permit regulations that you were talking about, the changes to those after Brexit have opened up a massive amount of opportunity for Premier League clubs to start to look more closely at South America. I think you're already seeing Man City looking to Brazil. I think they brought in young Kaiki from there, and obviously Brighton have gone to Ecuador to sign Moises Caicedo. So I think we're going to see a lot more Premier League clubs looking to these South American teams that are playing at a very high level already at the Libertadores to bring him in. And I think it's great that those regulations have been relaxed, because these players are playing at a really high level, and it gives them a chance to get straight into the Premier League rather than having to do sort of those moving to those mid-level clubs. I think it opens things up a lot more. But I'm going to move on now to my second pick, and that is, I think, one of the best moves of the entire window at any age level, and that is Lassina Traoré, who moved from Ajax to Shakhtar Donetsk for 10 million euros. So we saw him kind of burst onto the stage last season with the 5 goals and 3 assists in a game for Ajax, but kind of struggled after that. He had some injuries, and then Ajax signed Seb Harler from West Ham, and that kind of limited his opportunities to play in the second half of the season. But Shakhtar's a great landing spot for any striker at this time, with one of the most sought after coaches in Europe, Roberto De Zerbi, arriving there in the summer. And yeah, one of the best young coaches meets a top young striker arriving in Ukraine, playing for one of the 2 dominant teams in the league. And I think it's going to be goals galore. I think somewhere around the 30 goal mark in the league could be entirely possible for him. Shakhtar play with De Zerbi a very vertical style that really suits him. He's a really thick set player. He backs into defenders, and he's going to be receiving a lot of really direct passes that he's going to need to control and bring others into the game, and that's one of his strengths. And then Shakhtar have so many attacking options that are going to get down the wing. They've got speed, players like Dodô, Pedrinho that they've signed from Brazil, Manuel Solomon on the left, that are going to get lots of cutbacks into him in the box, and his poaching instincts are there for all to see. So I'm super excited about this move. He's going to be an important piece of the puzzle for them still needing to qualify for the Champions League and to try and get back that league title that they lost last year to Dynamo Kiev.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be, goals galore there. I think it's a league that he could potentially dominate. I think combined with De Zerbi's style, as you say, with those really narrow fullbacks and then sort of spreading outwards to the wide players, he's going to absolutely hoover up those goal scoring chances. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how many he can score. I'm not sure he'll get 30. I do want to contend that. I'm not sure he'll get 30, but I'm guessing this is something we can come and revisit.
Yeah, well, he's got 2 and 2 so far, so maybe not 30 in the league, maybe 30 in all comps. But
here comes the caveat to it.
No, I'm going to stick with 30 in the league. I think they're going to score a lot of goals with De Zerbi. He plays an attacking style, free flowing. As long as he stays healthy,
I think that's the one for me.
Yeah, he's going to be a real contender to if he doesn't get there, get very close and probably propel Shakhtar back to the top of the Ukrainian league. Thanks for joining us once again. That was our 4 players for this week, but we will be back very, very soon with another 4 of our favorite transfers of the window so far. If you did enjoy this, please give us a like and consider subscribing. And if you really enjoyed the video, please consider going to sfhandbook.com and picking yourself up a copy of one of our handbooks. Thank you very much.